Okay, so let us slowly start the second part of the evening. Last chance to grab yourself some tea, maybe. Okay, welcome back. I have a feeling that we are the same people who were here before the break. Nobody left and nobody came in, right? Okay, good. No? Okay. So we'll start the second part of the evening. This is a really good thing that we changed a few years ago, that we have, well, we always had a feature, but now we also have a poetic opener before the feature. And tonight our feature is Pamela Porter. Who is Pamela Porter? You are, oh, you just clap. Yeah, so good. Yeah. Pamela Porter is the author of 14 published books, including 10 volumes of poetry and 4 books for children or young adults. And she brought a plethora of those books there on the table. I had not mentioned that before. I think she also sells them for various prices, I believe. So not only buy Zoe's book for $15, but also grab some of Pamela Porter's books. Okay, Pamela has a bunch of awards. I'm just going to read them to you to impress you. Pamela's awards include the Governor General's Award. That's a big one, huh? Gwendolyn MacEwan Prize for Best Poem, the Freefall Magazine Prize, the Malahat Review 50th Anniversary Poetry Prize, and the Vallum Poem of the Year Award. And now she's here, and she will read to us. Okay, Pamela, please come up.
Yeah, it's always fun when Torsten is up here. Yeah, see, the secret is that you just have to keep sending your poems in. Just keep sending them in, and one day, you know, you get surprised out of the blue and you won something, and that's what you just have to keep doing. So I'm going to read a few poems from my new manuscript, which is titled "Between the Bell Struck and the Silence," in which many of the poems have to do with the natural world, because we live on a small horse farm on the peninsula. For this evening, I wanted to pay homage to 2 men who were have been significant in my development as a poet. And one is Ronald Hatch. Ron Hatch was a, I'll take these off for now. Ron Hatch was a professor of English at the UBC for 35 years. And when he decided to retire, what he thought was retirement was that he started a press in his house with his wife, Veronica. And I'm glad that he did, because he subsequently published 8 of my poetry books, and was still editing people's manuscripts in the hospital when he was dying of cancer. The other person is, of course, Patrick Lane, and those of us who've been to Patrick's workshops know what a kind and insightful mentor he was. So I'm just going to read these poems about them. Crossing. Such sacrifice as the day had made, and the night which drew you to itself, a distance infinitely far. We stood inside the dark, watching wind pass in front of the stars. A fire set, burning, the sparked leaves falling into the sky. Stilled tongue, driftwood bone, what bound you to this world? From the day of your birth, the stars knew you, and the moon, frail fingernail of light, began its bending, and bore you at last to the other world, your books and papers left behind. Your final breath, the precise moment in which you were and then were not. Mountain climber, cloud walker, the ship of you sailed out of time, its compass set for eternity. May I never forget your face, the light perpetual glimmered in your eye. What is worn is what has lived. The wild rose was full with winter birds settled on the risen snow, chickadee, nuthatch, junco. And in another house, your dying nearly complete, and the air thickening with snow, but the birds remained. How the heart closes a door so silently, nothing disturbs the quiet. And you stood up and entered a place, one that had been prepared for you, and the present fell away to the past. Winter mornings you'd wake before dawn, and in that darkness walked to the sea, where in silence, in unison, the mute swans took flight. The only sound in that moment, their wings pushing the air down and down as they rose out of sight. And after that, you knew anyone could rise out of sight. Not now, please. Now is not the time for singing. I am learning with painful slowness how to find you in the shadows, at the periphery, the edge of sight, as the light at dusk requires that we look aside. I am beginning to see, though I see through you, try to perceive what before was flesh. You have become the bare slice of moon. You are the dream erased at dawn. What is form? Where is the body now? By looking directly, I grow blind. My mouth opens in a dark oh, but can make no sound. As when the old horse was put down, and its mate ran up and down the fence line beside the snow-scraped patch of earth all night and into the morning. Finding what he can of his own way home. This poem is based on 2 trips that Rob and I took at different times, riding mules down to the bottom of the Grand Canyon and back up. And in order to get to the bottom of the Grand Canyon, there's the river that you have to cross in order to get there. It seemed a kind of mythological journey. There is a precision in nature, the way air is a living thing, taking form, changing form, like the spirit when it has left the body. As though the walls of this canyon were cut with the sharpest of tools, wind, sand. Olga, my mule, prefers to walk on the brick edge that holds the trail in place. Beyond the edge, the canyon. At its deepest point, the river. The body must go with the mule. The mind must trust. The day gathers to itself pigment and gradations of earth beyond what we imagine. The way the heart turns inward over the intricacies of love and the one who has died. We say, bless this man who died. We have carried him this far. When the mules need to rest, we stop, turn their heads out over the edge into sky, as a mountain climber will swing from a solitary rope in sleep. Bless this man as a raven spreads its wings, an island in the air. This one who died, as the spirit lifts and rises. There is a sacredness, a gravity, where the hour between present and past is a point in the palm of the hand of air. There is a bridge we cross, strung over the river. Bless him who died, this man. We have crossed the river with him and do not know how to go back. To learn by waiting how to wait. Past winter now, and the trees are still dreaming their lost children. The darkness welcomes everything. It is an honor to sit with the dying, a stranger once said to me. His eyes were not of this world. Now I keep watch over flowers in their vase, the moon as she wastes away, the quiet death of the rain. There are no bones inside the heart. How then does it break? Elegy for the stars. At dawn, where do the stars go? They curl up to sleep behind the silence. Where does the music go? It folds itself beneath song. Does the rain sleep? Yes, it dreams of flowers giving birth. And silence? Where does silence go? It waits each moment to be reborn. And the spirit? Where does the spirit go when it has left the body? Wait and listen. It is closer even than your breath. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Pamela. That was great. All right, and now we come to, well, sort of the last, but certainly not the least bit of the evening, our featured reader tonight is Zoë Landale. Round of applause, please. By way of introduction, I'll just let you know about her that she has also published a lot of books, 9 I read here, and edited 2 more, and her work has appeared in around 50 anthologies. Her writing has won significant awards. I will not read all of them to you, but including, for example, first in the CBC Literary Competition for Poetry. She has taught for 15 years as a faculty member in the creative writing department at Kwantlen Polytechnic University. And tonight she's going to read to us from her, I assume it's her most recent book, The Orchid Heart Elegies, for which she has been described as a modern day edgy Rilke. That's a good thing to look out for. I'm very excited here. Orchid Heart Elegies, it says, captures the torn, jagged moments of grief and transforms them into poems of deep consolation and healing. Zoë, please read to us.
Thank you. I really appreciate you having me here. Thank you. And I'm blown away by the similarities in what people have been reading tonight and what you're going to hear from me. I mean, if anybody would think that we got together and planned this out in advance. I live on Pender Island, and in order for you to get the most sense out of the book, I'll tell you that a little over 3 years ago, my husband went out in the morning to walk the dog on his favorite walk around Roe Lake, and he didn't come back. And any death is shocking when it's so unexpected like that. I was floundering. I was like, okay. And you keep looking for things to make yourself feel better. You know, stupid stuff like, if I sweep the floor, surely I'll feel better then. If I do the dishes, surely I'll feel better then. And it doesn't quite happen. And eventually, you know, you guys are mainly writers here, I think, maybe all writers. I mean, if you cut us, we believe words. And I was working on a novel when my husband died, and I couldn't. That was it. Couldn't do it. I kept thinking, well, if I could write, I'd feel better. I'm sure I would. I'm sure I would. And I finally thought of an exercise that I used to do with my students. You know, like a patterning exercise. You take someone who has a very noticeable way of speaking, of diction, and you say, okay, no, you write this poem, but all in your own words. And you look at it and you say, okay, where are they using natural elements? Where's there an image? Where's there an active verb? And I was working from about 3 different translations of Rilke. I thought I could do it. I could do it with Rilke. And so I would take the dog for a walk, and I'd come home and pull us out, and then I'd probably only work on like one very short stanza, and I had no idea anything was going to happen with this, not at all. But it turned out to be a book. I never know quite when I'm going to get caught up with grief, and so I if I choke, I'll come back to you. My daughter used to say when I was reading her like a sad animal book when she was little, Mom, think of purple elephants. And I still do. So I'm happy to take questions or observations after. The group I met with this afternoon, I just thought they had some stunning things to say. I was really it was delightful to interact with them. I will mention that I have a mailing list, and every 2 weeks I put out, it's usually a creative nonfiction piece, sometimes it's poetry. It's free, it's fun, so I have it there if you'd like to sign up. Trying to think what else I might not have said here. The orchid that I refer to, and that the book is named after, is a little tiny, it's a native plant. It's a lady slippers. Calypso. Yeah, Calypso bulbosa. Good for you. Perfect. Thank you. And it's, yeah. I sent a picture of it to the publishers, and you can see they did not want anything so representational, which is fine. They've been wonderful to deal with. The first elegy. Who among the quicksilver dead can reach through to comfort when you weep? Even if one held out its arms, you would drift through that much wanted embrace, the way mist skirls through dark forest, or fir pollen puffs copper grains on the breeze. For death balances on the cusp between the longed for and panic we can only just endure. We worship this silence because it calmly refuses to annihilate us. Each of our dead is sealed, a cipher there's no reading in this lifetime. So you endure this longing, its hook hard set. Who will help you? Mystery's gold meaning, which organizes us all into lines of light. Even the animals understand the insecurity of our perch. We are high wire acrobats about to tumble from the surface of our planet. Everything we perceive is merely a guess. In the end, all that's left is the yew tree you watch every day from your window, silhouette black against the sky. And our friend repetition, loyal as a dog, the tidying of cluttered rooms, the spun silk habits of keeping a life clean. Between the covers of waking and not, a great windy terror scours your heart raw. You reach out, sigh, remembering. Who can stay behind when death summons? You are not immune. From two, one is left. Don't you get it? Open your arms, invite emptiness. Maybe your ghosts will feel the puff of displaced air and blow you a kiss. It's true April had you on its short list. White stars of wild cherries to be admired, white boils of currant along the old village site, flood tide rising in green braids of current sank, see? And you did see events, the why of betrayals from years ago, as you walked the beach, listen to the cronk of the cannered beast swimming 10 feet away, suffering you balefully. Weren't you always just about to pay attention, each round minute rolling away? Sins of omission. Will you blink now, zip sideways into the moving water of your own life and go straight home to a glass of wine? There's no denying your cupboards are packed with memories in hand-sewn cotton bags with ties. The tenderness those ties provoke. If you breathe just so, the intensity slacks off. Sorry, I'm parched. I'm just going to grab my glass of water here.
Usually bring the same, and then I did this time. For reasons.
You never really understood before what a valiant act being alive really is. Faces from the past peer over your shoulder, particular about wanting to be noticed. A boy with straw-colored hair, a woman who smells of face powder and cigarettes, a handsome man in a checked shirt with messy hair and a big grin. We are the living. We make choices about who we walk with along white shell beaches. All of us, even you, will be forgotten, though possibly not this week. Blind centuries will rise over our bones, we who once held hands as we walked down city streets, who loved, lost, ate sweet oranges. The dead feel no jealousy. They will claim us soon enough. It is sad, though, that the vision we had of our own great deeds got up and strode into the sea. Every decision we make in this late afternoon sun defines us. We can wish duty to stamp us more intensely, but we move suffused with the past. When we get up and go, our ghosts, well-meaning and not, rise with us. We can hold out a hand to one. Only cold ocean fume will answer at this turning point of stillness. The universe speaks in a language like the Calypso Balbosa you've watched send up pink flowers in 2 days from the forest floor. A language for holy fools. The word resonates from that invisible drumhead of the world. Have you lit candles for your recent dead? Some spirits didn't get to say the goodbyes they would have wanted. So dance for them. Lift up your hands, your orchid heart. They are blooming now in the deep forest. The surprise of it still stops you. Where do they go, these ghosts? How do they manage without coffee the rituals it took a lifetime to collect? Do even their names get hung up like a coat you take off inside a door? Certainly, you can feel them moving like slow meteors burning with joy. They lean forward as if against a headwind. They have laid down their worries about us, fanned them out, cartoon valentines in a shiny heap on a hall table inside the door. Speculate all you want. The dead may send us the occasional cheery hello, but their tethers have snapped. They are all the wild balloon colors you can imagine, and they are disappearing at speed. Do the dead outgrow us? Perhaps they travel through such faraway passes we no longer catch the flash of messages they've asked the stars to relay. Or did the stars forget? They're more into the squeak and hiss of hydrogen, the electromagnetic colors of combustion they call music. Left behind, you bump shoulders with desolation again. If you wait long enough, will the flat world spring back into breadth, depth, height? Joy has deflated to a limp word. There is no comfort, just rolled gray. Only the sun, your eager dog, and daffodils in bloom have meaning. The second elegy. Each of the dead is sealed, a message in a bottle spun past us into the roaring cascades of galaxies. Years ago, after someone you loved died, that night as you scrabbled between sleep and dream, unwilling to let go, you struggled with him along a steep slope. No moon, no stars, only a sheen of light from the sky. At last you reached the rounded arch of a stone bridge spanning a chasm. A river seethed below, its cold as piercing as a long farewell. A resonant voice said, "You have followed as far as you are able." The speaking filled you with awe. You understood then there were boundaries you'd pushed too far. You stopped. Your dead scrambled up to the bridge deck. Someone was coming. Who? You listened for footsteps as they walked away. All you heard was the wind hissing, water. There were 7 heavens above Asgard, city of the Norse gods, ascending realms of who knows what festivities, even battle the Norse might yearn for. Something profound gutters from a corpse, leaving only a spent candle behind. Look at the still face you loved. Aren't you surprised at how gone that person is? You have to ask where, and can't they stick around a bit, help you get your bearings? Stay at the crossroads at midnight or on the bridge, crackling like a transformer with sheer energy. Here we stand between one breath and death, asking to be liked. Off in the distance, the city reflects pink onto the night sky. Oh, such loneliness steals the heart and rides off with it, hanging from the saddle. Tell me heaven is going to be different. Please. We are short-term glories compared to the integrity of rocks or even trees. What are we but a rag bag of longings waiting to go home? So we ask and receive, keep believing in that glorious instant when the universe says, yes, it's gold and good, until it slips through our fingers like water. When we vanish from the bodies we've inhabited and scarred, what quick flame goes where? Do we hover over above ourselves, wonder what now? Want to comfort our own cooling flesh? The beauty in us, that thrill of knowing oneself alive, transmuted now. We become consecrated to a purity which owns us. Are there beings in the light that surrounds us? You squint, it's too intense to see. Sun reflects from the lake, tiny shards are bright like dancing souls. What does it mean to cross over? If we knew we were dying, we could plan, yes? Sit together by the fire with a glass of wine, say, this is how you will know me. But it will always be another year or month, not today we'll die. Some confide in trees or whisper secrets into the soft ear of a dog. Light flows through us until it doesn't. Some intangible silver flickers out. The one left behind is violently amazed at how paper thin it feels to walk singular through the world. It is not a good kind of weightlessness. The empty house rings like a bell with the clapper gone. Waves of panicked air beat against the walls. Your hands hold nothing. Who are you when you're at home? We define ourselves in relationship, daughter, son, orphan, lungs, heart, bones, the blue lightning of pain. The sheltering yew tree, the genius loci of the garden where Anna's hummingbirds perch. Who are we when even gravity can't define us anymore? Don't we throw out coils of longing, soft and thick as braided nylon, straight up and ask for messages from our dead? Give us a sign, a wonder, we say to the sky. If it obliges, do we believe from hope? We may be given back a twinkle of spider silk or 6 blue herons who circle us over and over until we weep for wonder, or nothing. Floods of anguish. Then the tide goes out, which is a good thing, as no organism can sustain such intensity forever. So you tell yourself and want to believe. The closest you get to peace is walking around the lake, moving one foot, then another, hip swing, and you're not supposed to call anyone or do anything other than move. Juncos keep you company with clicks, flit from fur to fur, hold it all like a soap bubble, be iridescent with love. Keep your hands cupped softly. We own only our breath. Love comes with an undated check of farewell. Someone has to pay. But cheer up, it might not be you. Dispute it with the god of doorways. If only we could stay walking, exist in that pure moment where we expect only the pleasure of forward movement, never have to go home. Walking, we are as close to transparent as a mountain stream that in summer flings itself over rocks in waterfalls and green pools. We flash yearning toward a cloudless sky. The 7th elegy. Who could imagine we might outgrow desire? Or at least wrap it in tissue, put it away like unused treasure. Passion's still there. We could take it from its high shelf anytime, or so we console ourselves. When you lose a love, you mourn as well your own earlier iteration as one who made celebratory meals, who crackled with electricity. Now in sunshine, with rain pelting in long see-through dashes through bright air, you ask this remaining self, who are you at home when no one is watching? What can you laugh at? What will you let in through your eyes? The surprise of this October storm, the hearth fire's orange. Can you dress to thank the world for being, for the black and white doll porpoises who came and rode your bow wave, smiling in the long ago? You are a snapped trunk arbutus with berries warm to the color of burning coals. You will never marry again. Live with it. Smooth it like velvet, purple under your hands. Dance with it. The earth is full of others who move into shapes of attraction, of coming together, their springs turning toward summers. Lift up your arbutus hands, bless them with ripe berries, with wonder that we're here at all, in the sough of wind, our seabirds and whales vanishing like dew. Yet there is still sun, and the faith of a dog who has made you magnetic north, friends who link themselves with you, gold lines flung across a continent. Such fervor pulls the lovers to one another. Kisses on eyelids, the tender skin of wrist, a charge mounting between them. It makes you tired. It's a story you've read. Forgive us, for we know not what we do. We'll do better tomorrow or next week when we have time to be grateful. Remember Prague, where the cobblestones smelled of piss and you wolfed pear and chocolate pastries that made you think, yes, there is a reason to weep for joy. Such lightness in a square where tanks rolled in, where thousands of stories collided and changed, wheeling like birds in the river-scented air. Now, singular, we learn to wear loneliness, a jewel of sorts, the color of a fog bank, sometimes shot through with blue as moonstones echo sky. It's a game, isn't it? Though poignant, to replace feeling lonely with merely being alone. There's the air, the way it touches skin. There are books, music, the dog, always the dog, snoring or snouting for a pat. Transformation is a silver process, cold much of the time. Slippery, a belt of metal stripping scales you didn't know you grew on your arms, your legs, your flower heart. What do we own but air? And then ultimately, not even that. Inhaling and exhaling the overlooked gift of traveling a little longer through the world. Aren't we all walking one another home? Home on a turning circle or down the block, the blaze of a maple turning color, orange and red against the dazzle of sky. How kind shapes are to our eyes. Look at the rusty curl of spent cedar fronds against the ground, the way fractals stamp themselves into our imagination. Let's not pretend. It's the tender recognition you sometimes feel in those spaces between the real, a loon's O left on water when it dives, music that holds out a hand when you've fallen over a long, sad edge, pulls you back, wet and bedraggled to shore. Between that struggle and truths the brain attempts to imagine and slips off, those out of the corner of the eye, loving kindnesses from the universe you want to hold close, you connect with a source that feels like coming home. How strange it is that we who can be so heavy with the hurts of our bodies have such aspirations to the ineffable, to want to become gold ourselves, vast and clean. The unseen world pulls us. Is turning toward its draw, that huge invisible piece, our goal then, as the certainties we once counted on pass away? To everything there is a season, death, houses, a carved walnut table made by a great-grandmother, friendships you thought would last a lifetime. What's left but our dealings with mystery? You see through a prism of beveled glass, light through autumn fire leaves. Colors stroke us on the cheek, sweet as that sudden clutch of peace the heart feels, sometimes for no reason. We are the left behind. Each day trembles with a hole in the air, a cutout of the one who walked beside us. Forever, we thought. Even then, we knew it wasn't true, but couldn't imagine otherwise. Now, here we remain, still standing, though by ourselves. How extraordinary. No one who is not born it can imagine what a black peony feels like pinned through the heart. Daily, we bear hundreds of repetitions of the lost one's name. We don't cry out. Instead, we mop floors, devour apples. The lights are on. The house of our consciousness looks inhabited, and yet, bless us, angels, for we are desolate. The black peony, what can we hope for now? The black peony is love's highest token. Congratulations, you too may win it one day. And yet, isn't there a certain largesse in such caring? It feels like the extravagance of feathers on the palm of a hand or the cool benison of petals. It means in this life we have not been indifferent. Comfort yourself. The sky has not cut us off, only time. Don't you love physicists with their fanned out deck of dimensions? Time is only one dimension out of 10. 9 other dimensions hold a lot of possibilities. It's hard to stay here. Reinvention hurts like a burn. Continual pain wears at a person. Though this morning you saw a house one green island over, rising from a fog bank, lit in a lozenge of sun. That helped, as did the flutter of juncos yesterday, a dozen skittering on the lawn by the cliff garden. What exactly do you hope for? You'll know it when you feel it. A tipping of the world back into beauty, into roundness, some kind of ease. Do I have a question?
We must see people actually catch buses.
Oh, catch buses, okay.
Good. Yeah, any questions, any comments, remarks?
That was beautiful.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
I console myself that, you know, for my husband, it was a good death. It just, he went out, you know, in possession of all his faculties.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm interested in how you proceed with your writing. Like, I mean, because all of this had a coherence to it. I mean, obviously, because it's about a particular event and a particular person and a particular mixture of feelings.
Yeah.
Like, you know, do you just sit down when you feel like it, or you carry a notebook with you and make notes, or
I have a phone.
so
So when I was on the far side of the lake with the dog, and I got a line, I could take up my phone and make a note. With this particular one, I would walk the dog first thing in the morning, and then we would come back and I'd pull out my Rilke. And I think it was a combination of like what had happened then and what I was seeing in Rilke, and you know, and how could I make this my own? And I certainly didn't have the intention of let me write, you know, 10 poems just like that. It was just like, and this is something I would like to do. Let me try and do it. Oh, look, it seems to be, you know, and it was making me feel a little bit more like I could hold a coherent thought in my head to do it. But morning for me is when I really need to try to work. You know, if I can work in the afternoon, that's gravy. But it was a little interesting because I used to go walking with my husband and dog 3-4 times a week. The other days I'd say, bye, I'm going to write now. You know, and this is a big dog. She needs a lot of exercise. So now I put the dog first, but I manage, you know, like I'll set the alarm you know,
goodness for the dog.
yeah. But I think I need a bit of a structure, you know, and we all have stuff in our lives, the ordinary life-sustaining trivia that we have to do that takes up time.
Yes.
But yeah, always trying to get the writing in. That was a good question. Thank you. Yeah. Any others?
What is,
Sorry, go ahead. Yeah, no, you-
it is a short one. What is your reading list? What does that mean? You said you had a list. We could see.
Yeah, for my newsletter. I'm just saying, if you would like to sign up for it, it's back there. And what's it about? It's about different things. The last one was called Latest Conversations with the Dead. I really love creative nonfiction because for me, it's so similar to poetry. You know, you get to play with language, and there's very strong imagery. Torsten,
Right,
you said?
yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask then, when about did you realize this is turning into a book? Did that come? I want to maybe boil the question down. Was that a momentary decision? Like suddenly you realize, oh, this is a book, or did it come slowly?
I just kept writing them.
Yeah.
And I know that Rilke has an 11th elegy. I couldn't make it happen. I just looked at it and I tried on a number of days and it just would not come.
Oh.
And I didn't think it was quite long enough for a book. And a friend of mine who's a poet said, give me, I want to see it. And I'm like, you know, I really was not wanting to give her my book. I was feeling quite tender about it, and she could be a little crisp. And she said, no, this is a book. And what's more, you have to send it to McGill Queen's Press. And I went, I do? And she said, yes. And so that was when I realized, you know, it was a long time coming.
Yeah.
Other questions, you guys?
I think I want to get to buying your book.
Oh, sure, absolutely. Please lead a charge. And
All right.
thank you. You guys are a great audience.